this person to still be a person. Like the finality of their demise, I think, perhaps nullifies their personhood. But like sleeping people and fetuses both share the trait of currently unconscious, but will be conscious in the short future.
Yeah. So the way that like other views tend to get around that problem is by saying like something is a person isn't a myth. It has like a psychological continuity. And all that means is there's like this string of connections between like certain experiences and others. So right. So like there's like this string of connection between my first experience and me waking up today. Right. And that's what makes me the same person. And I think I can solve it. And a big problem I have personally with animalism, is another thing. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, like tomorrow, I found out my mother is like completely not human. Like I just woke up and I found out my mother like is an alien or something. Right? Well, I'm not quite sure. Like I still think my mother's a human, or I still think my mother's a person. Sorry. And given that, I'm not sure how animalism is even account for like, and like me saying stuff like, and like, or she or they or stuff like that, like personal pronouns, when animalism would say she's no longer a person because she's not like a distinct human organism. They also can't account for like fictional things like how is Superman a person? How is like how are these like how are Viltrumites persons? Stuff like that. And given that, I find that animalism is issue really, really like to be really, really weird. And given animalism isn't true. Like personally, I just think there's no way to get the like the conception position off the ground conceptually.
I guess what's your position?
Well, I take a position that's like the specific thing, abortion or personal identity. So I don't yap your ear off.
Abortion.
Yeah, I take so I think abortions are okay. Yeah, keep in mind this is like a legislative argument. It's like the up until question is kind of weird. I think they're like generally wrong after around 8 weeks, because that's the point where you've like earliest seen conscious experience. And so that's like a precautionary principle. But I think generally it can still be okay, because I take like wherever I'm asking myself that if something is good, I'm just weighing up a reason. It's like, do I have a reason to believe this is good? Do I have reason to believe this is bad? And I think something being like conscious or sentient is a really big reason to believe it's valuable and a really big reason to not kill it. But I think there can be reasons to outweigh it. But probably the position is just that I think most elective abortions are okay, given they have a reason to get the abortion, which like 74% do, at least one that I see is adequate. And given there's no reason, obviously I think it's wrong. Because I'm not like insane.
So when you say 8 weeks, I mean, this would be like most pro-choicers would consider this to be like pretty draconian.
Oh yeah, I agree. Okay, so yeah, I take like, well, one thing is like most abortions happen in that time period anyway. But either way, like I think there's no way for me, like to myself, to justify like it's okay to like, or like it's equivalent to kill like something that is like, that has like the potential to be sentient, as opposed to like something that is like definitely not sentient. I think the thing that is potentially sentient is like obviously more valuable to me. And so like I tend to think like they're generally wrong around there, because that's where they have like the potential to be sentient, because that's the earliest you've ever seen.
So I just got put to sleep like a couple days ago to undergo an operation. I was totally out. In fact, my arm fucking still hurts from when they put the fucking IV in. It still hurts, actually. Got a big bruise here.
My condolences.
And so when I was out, I was not conscious. I had no consciousness. I was under the effect of propofol. But I had potential consciousness in that I was about to come to being within 30 minutes. During this time when I'm out, would it be murder for them to kill me?
Yeah, because you have like the potential for sentience. Whenever you're on anesthetics, you're not even not sentient, like you're still, and you're so conscious. It's just that like the muscles in your body and your brain, they've like kind of been suppressed for a little bit. But your brain is still firing. You're still making brainwaves and stuff. It's just not generating the experience. But as long as you have like the faculties to create a conscious experience, your sentient experience, I think can be valuable.
Right, but I mean, with propofol, like it knocks you like out unconscious. It's not like Twilight anesthesia where you're I don't know how to pronounce it. It's not like the Twilight stuff where it's like a mix of fentanyl and something else, where like
And
you're sort of like half conscious or whatever. Like it's very much like you are out, and so you're right. I'm sure my brain was still like having some kind of brain waves or still activity, obviously, but um, if we're just going to go off of like any kind of nervous activity, then to me this would be similar, like very, very early on in pregnancy, probably even before 8 weeks. But
well,
but we can just change the situation slightly to adjust for this.
you,
Let's say they gave me propofol plus, which
yeah,
actually like knocked me so fucking out that like my brainwaves stopped and like I was just gone for like 30 minutes. But I was going to come back when they really
you,
stopped giving me the propofol, which is, kind of how it works. During this time period, despite the fact that I have no capacity, or I not capacity, but I have no ongoing consciousness,
you,
I would still say it'd be wrong to kill me. I think it would still be
yeah, I
very
agree.
morally wrong.
I agree. Okay,
Yeah.
so as I said before, I think it's like the capacity for some practically say like the faculties to create a sentient experience. It's equal. I don't understand that to just be a nervous system. I think there's like certain brainwaves that need to be present. In the earliest, as I said, like the earliest you've ever seen those brainwaves is like 8 weeks. But like, let's say my deadline was even like, see me, like found out tomorrow that actually I was like a fetus and had it at 4 weeks. I could push it back, like 6 weeks or something. I push it back. Still, like most abortions happen like really, really early on into the
They
pregnancy.
do.
Um,
Yep.
yes, I think like personally, I understand that like that would still be a pro-choice position, at least to me. But um, yeah, I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's correct to kill you. I think it's wrong. I think, given they kill you, they like violated some right you have. They also like, because actually violating some right you have, like, you could say like a reason counting in favor is like, you're going to continue that, like that continuous, psychological strain in the future. You have the capacity to be, since you like all these things, kind of come together if you're going to say that it's, still wrong to kill you.
I guess where I'm at is that I'm just sort of like, I guess that I'm stuck where I kind of fluctuate back and forth on is I fluctuate back and forth on whether I should value the thing that currently has the capacity for consciousness, or if I value something that is an individual entity that will develop the capacity for consciousness. And that's kind of what I struggle between the two. And sometimes I think that one makes more sense than the other. I think also like capacity for consciousness is also like a difficult question because, if I'm under propofol, like, oh, I got the brain to be conscious, but I don't have the capacity to be conscious because my brain's full of propofol. It's full of the drug that's literally nullifying the capacity I have to be conscious. I couldn't be conscious if I wanted to under this drug. So what does it mean then to have the capacity to do something if quite literally it would be impossible for me to do it? Well, then I
Well,
guess I really don't have the capacity for consciousness if I have propofol in my system.
so I understand the capacity to be like stick to certain physical facts about your body, like maybe your brain's development or, stuff like that. That's how I understand like what pro-choicers generally mean whenever they see capacity. So I think like because you have like the adequate brain development, that's like the reason that counts in favor of you being really valuable. But like I understand the concern. A big problem I have with like the like a thing that has like and that's going to become sentient in the future is like one. I'm not sure it can harm things that don't exist. Like that thing that will be sentient in the future doesn't exist yet. Like there's nothing to harm right now. But even aside from that, that's like the destiny concern. Aside from that, there's like but I mean, like this scenario, it's like, let's say there's, like I have like a button in front of me, right? And if I press this button, right now, then one person will become, right? Like one person will be created, that person will be sentient, that person will have like a full life experience. But let's say I wait like and 5 years. And then in 5 years, start press the button, two people will be created, right? And those two people will have like a full like experiences, all that. To me, at least, it seems kind of obvious that I probably should press the button in 5 years, right? There's more people that are around, more people experiencing, more like having positive experiences, more lives, blah, 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 blah. Right. And it's ask you, like, would you come to the same conclusion I do, where you should probably wait 5 years and then press the button before I continue my spiel?
I don't know if creating life is morally I don't know how relevant that is to the idea of taking life. I guess I don't know what I would do. I don't like. I remember there like some people have like a belief that you have a moral obligation to create as much life as possible. I'm not there right now.
Well, I don't particularly have that view. You can understand it. Like maybe, like if you press the button, what's up? Sorry.
I want to address something that you said at the beginning real quick. You said like a lot of pro-choicers, what they'll say is that when they're talking about capacity, they're talking about adequate brain development. But I think when they're talking about, I understand they're talking about that, but to me it would seem like the reason they're referring to adequate, whatever quote unquote adequate brain development is because of its ability to do the thing. So the reason why they're like, oh look, you have the brain development, it's because once it has this thing, it can now generate consciousness. But a brain under propofol can't. So to me, I don't see the difference between a quote unquote fully developed brain under propofol. What's really the functional difference between that and a undeveloped brain? Both of them are unable to generate consciousness.
Well, okay, so the difference is, given like the brain on propofol were obstructed, it would create dissensions. But the other brain, like the one that's not on propofol, it's just underdeveloped. No matter what you do, that brain will not be able to generate sentience because it doesn't have like the proper faculties, right? That's like the difference.
Obstructed. No. The term obstructed here, I could argue like obstructed again. To me, it's not very satisfying. Like I could say that the undeveloped brain is obstructed from generating a consciousness because it doesn't have it hasn't developed enough. In the same way that the brain with propofol in it is obstructed from generating consciousness because it has propofol in it.
Okay, but do you think the brain on propofol in and of itself, given it doesn't have the propofol in it, given like nothing was like obstructing it from creating a sentient experience at the time, given that, you think that brain in and of itself would be able to create the sentient experience?
Yes, if it didn't have the thing stopping it from creating the experience, then it could, in the same way if the undeveloped brain had the trait that allowed it to generate experience, then it also could.
But then it's just no longer an undeveloped brain, right? It's like you're saying, well, if the undeveloped brain were developed, it'd be developed. Well, yeah, I agree. The point is it's an undeveloped brain.
Exactly. And like the reason why it's relevant that it's undeveloped is really only because it doesn't have the thing to generate consciousness. In the same way that the brain flooded with propofol also doesn't have the thing to generate consciousness. And when we're saying the thing, what is like what the thing in this question I think is simply the ability to.
Okay. You agree the difference is that one has the thing that allows it to generate the sentient experience in itself, and the other one doesn't yet. That's the difference.
It just seems like a distinction without a difference. Like it seems to me that, again, like, yes, obviously they're two different like things, and we can point out like a difference in the sense that like one is an undeveloped brain and one is a developed brain in propofol. But like to me, the reason why it's a distinction without a difference is that it seems like the meaningful thing that people are looking at is, does this entity have the ability to generate consciousness? If I can create a brain that can generate consciousness, oh, there you go, right? And so when I look at an undeveloped brain that does not have the ability to generate consciousness, oh, okay, so I don't value it. And then I look at a developed brain, but it's flooded with propofol. This also does not have the ability to generate consciousness. It just can't do it, right? It has something about it that just leaves it unable to generate consciousness in the same way that a toaster or an undeveloped brain also cannot generate consciousness.
Can I just add one sentence? like not butt in,
Wait,
but add
okay.
one sentence, just an addendum, is just they've also, and I can link the information, I'm trying to look it up right now as I say it out loud, summary. There is science now and evidence, actually not even just now, it's not new, it's been like since the 90s, where they've been able to make like organoids, or like even more recently, actual like simple, is what they call them, simple brains, that do, when under study, do distinctly give off brain waves. It seems to be maybe thinking or having some sort of experience, but that quantifiable experience would be, I don't know what that is. It's just a brain, right? The thinking thing. It doesn't have eyes or like a body. So if someone said, okay, it has to have the ability to have a generate consciousness, well, that thing is generating consciousness. It could be simple, like an animal, but it is still generating consciousness.
Is it,
So in
is,
that case, you know what I mean? But
and
I
for
know
the
that you're
analyst states,
arguing not. But I know you're arguing not from just the simple basis of the ability to
yeah.
generate. You're saying that it's not simply just the ability to generate; it's to generate it and then sustain itself while it's generating that by itself, for the most part.
Well, okay.
Okay. Just to clarify, when I'm referring to consciousness, I'm referring to, my understanding is that consciousness is generally referred to as like uh, a threshold of like cognitive capacity beyond which we would call consciousness, like the ability of like self recognition. Like an ant, despite the fact that it has like some neural activity, we would say
Right.
that it doesn't experience consciousness because we set up some threshold, and where that threshold line is going to be obviously up for debate.
It's
But
even
like,
like certain insects and certain creatures, like certain
yeah.
lower forms of crustaceans, they may be reacting to the negative stimuli from their nervous systems, having their arm having to be severed, whether willingly or by something else severing it, for example. But
Mhm.
then it's like they're not maybe necessarily always in pain, because it's like as we would fully experience, it's an emotional, psychological, like
Yeah,
physical,
suffering.
it's a whole, right, suffering as well, right? They might not be suffering because it's like part of the biology. It's like, oh, I'm a crustacean, a rock fell on my arm, I can't get it loose, so I'm gonna just detach my arm, which might hurt them, I guess. Like, again, rudimentary pain signal, like nervous system wise, yeah, it is, there is pain signals, but is it pain, like
Right.
cognitive sentient sapient pain? I don't know about that.
Like here's here's a good way to phrase the question
Yeah.
differently. So when
Yeah,
I'm
please
talking,
try. If you can rephrase what I said, I would like that, because I feel like I kind of, I don't
well,
know how I did that. I feel like I
well, well,
chopped it up.
no, I'm actually going to use the example you brought up with the insect. I'm going
Yeah,
to combine it with the prior example with the propofol, and I'm going to ask the question.
yeah.
So, when I said before, when we were just trying to distinguish like the brain with propofol in it before and the undeveloped brain, what about this scenario? What if you were comparing an undeveloped brain, and then we came out with a new form of anesthetic where it temporarily for 30 minutes reverted your developed brain to an undeveloped brain, and then it immediately redeveloped after
How
30
would that
minutes.
even work? You can't answer a hypothetical. That's like,
Well, no, it's okay. I can answer it because I'm not like a bad technical trainer. Anyways, so that would work because I have like I expressed like previous like preferences, right? Saying like there's this person, right? And you can see like I make them fucking brain dead for like an hour, right? Let's say like we have like a type of anesthesia, it makes them brain dead, like their brain is literally fucking dead. Like they can't their brain isn't alive. They can't produce the cups of gears anymore.
Yeah, like it'll never come
Well,
back.
yeah. Given we know in an hour this person will wake up again, and we know this person has expressed like a previous like desire to not be killed. Like they've expressed something like that beforehand. It would still be wrong to kill them. And in the same sense, like say you have this like anesthetic that like represses your brain to the point where it's undeveloped. Well, that person that is generated by that brain is still and is still has like those past preferences that have been expressed to not be killed. And given
Why
it's
does
like those past experience,
why does like prior preferences matter at all morally?
because preference fulfillment is one of the reasons account in favor of an action being wrong or right.
So you're telling me that, like, let's say, okay, maybe this might be something that like I just have like a weird disagreement on. Then, like, if I write in, let's say, like I own a house, and then I write like in my will it is my preference that nobody gets to own this house going forward. Is that like, do we have to like listen to what I say, or can we just be like,
well,
oh fuck
no,
this
no,
guy, we're
it's
gonna sell the house?
no, because it's not like a categorical thing, right? Like say, I don't know, like we could give that house to a homeless person, and that homeless person could have like a better life. That would be it, and like that would be a good thing. It's just one of the like something and like fulfilling or frustrating a desire. That's just one of the reasons that counts in favor of an action being done. But there can be like reasons that count against it being done. There can be reasons that count in favor and being bad, right? So like. You can think of it like this. Say like, I don't know, you're kind of considering like, do I want to go get Chinese food or Mexican food today? Right? And then you're like counting up the reasons in your head. And you're like, oh, well, I like Chinese food and Mexican food. I like them both equally, but I also had Mexican food like yesterday. And so I don't want to eat it 2 days in a row. And then after like weighing up all the reasons, you decide, you know what, I'm going to go get Chinese food instead. In the same sense, whenever we're making like a moral judgment, we're like weighing up reasons. We're like, oh, well, this frustrates someone's desires, but also it will make this homeless person's well-being like so much better because they'll have a house, they'll have like a place where they can like a stable grounding. They'll probably be mentally better. And, after we weigh up all those reasons, it comes out as that. And like me saying, like, desire for food is one of the things that is like a reason in favor of a thing being that, that's not me saying like categorically all things that fulfill desires are good. That's me saying like, almost being equal. If something were to fulfill a desire, then it would be good.
I care about like desire fulfillment for like current creatures or potentially even future creatures or like future persons. I don't know. I just really don't care about like the preferences of past people. Like if I read somewhere that like some dead guy wanted me to do XYZ for them, like no, I don't care. But like if there's somebody who's like, hey, I need you to do this for me because of my like it'll affect me in XYZ future way, then I actually would like potentially like take that into consideration. Because like once a person's gone, like they're dead, they're not like a person anymore. In my like I don't know. I just maybe I'm weird on this, but like I just like I don't feel any kind of like obligation or moral weight to do what dead people want me to do.
Okay. So I want to say this, and I don't want to come off like a dick when I say it. I said that in response to a hypothetical that you said, where you clarified that there will be a person that comes back into existence at a future time. What he said was, you put me under a forward anesthesia that regresses my brain, and in 30 minutes, my brain will go back to how it was.
Yeah.
So there is a future person value. There is someone whose preferences will be fulfilled. So you're saying you really care about dead people's past preferences. Well, yeah, I agree. But I care about people who will would have situations in the futures. I care about those preferences, but even to like some degree, we obviously care about dead people's preferences. We don't go and like rate corpses all the time. We don't go and like
I'd be fine with that. I don't.
I'd be okay.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Like I'm serious. Like I just don't. It just doesn't.
Hold
like,
on. Can I interject? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, just because I said something kind of wild, I just want to clarify. Like, with the reason for like the regression and then coming back, like, I value the future consciousness, but if you're gonna like, if the argument is, well, here's something that's had past consciousness, currently doesn't, and will have future consciousness, I think the future consciousness is important to me, but the past consciousness is like entirely irrelevant.
Hold on. Can I get a baseline to understand both y'all's perspectives? That's mainly what I want to interject for, because the title, like, so Gladiator, are you pro or like, where's the scale here? Okay, pro-choice. And Lactoid, you are?
He's pro-choice, but he's okay with bans after 8 weeks, which is like pretty.
Okay.
Well, wait, real quick. I'm not okay with categorical bans. I'm okay with general bans.
Okay, do you know the number of abortions that have occurred since 1984 worldwide? Are you aware of the number?
Millions, probably billions.
Nope. Yep, billions.
That's
yes.
I
Guess.
probably lean more pro-life, I guess, is where I'd put it.
Guess the number. Guess
10
the number
billion.
of how many abortions. Nope. Not even close, brother. That's not even how many happen annually. Annually in the United States, 77 million a year.
So Google says that
The number of
73
abortions.
It says 73 million abortions take place worldwide every year.
Oh, sorry.
That's what Google says.
Sorry, not 77 for the US, but if 77 million abortions take place every year and they can draw that back to 1984 based on like the gaps between the years, there's been 2.56 billion abortions done since 1984.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Abortions.
That's a quarter of the population.
Yeah, it's great. You know how many people have died since the beginning of existence?
Many.
People have been killing people since the beginning of time, but do you know where abortion comes from? It's a Mayan sacrifice to sacrifice babies, bro.
Well, just wait, because it's I feel like the conversation's moving in two directions at once, kind of a thing. I don't need to ask my question and interrupt, but I think the conversation's moving in two directions. That's what the question. I was going to ask a question on that.
Wait,
I was just going to say.
I want to get this thing off.
Go ahead. No, yeah, you go first. Yeah, go.
Yeah. So 3 trillion people have died since the beginning of Earth. So do you believe we should stop people from living so more people don't add to that 3 trillion mark green anti-natalist?
Obviously, I don't think that we should kill all people, but there is a line. Do you think that you have the right?
But 3 trillion people
do
die.
you think that you have the right to decide who lives and who dies, even though it's in your womb? Are you that much of a piece of shit?
Do I have the right to decide who fits and who dies? Well, I mean, presumably you do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have sex and you're that much of a coward and you can't deal with the fucking consequence of your action because you're a sexual deviant, maybe don't abort the fucking baby.
Yeah, let's see, that's like a 14-year-old. That's not fucking clear how sex works.
Dude, no, that's not even... Dude, they're lying to you. Look at the World Health Organization. 7 out of 10 women have pregnancies. Bro, 7 out of 10 women have abortions due to unplanned pregnancies. And 50% of women that have one abortion come back for another one.
Abortion statistics.
Bro, gynecologists lie to you. You can have a cesarean section, a C-section. It will save the life of the mother and the baby. You don't have to be that much of a fucking coward and kill it because you can't supply it. Don't have sex if you don't have money.
Like just tiny pause.
You're just gonna look at me, retard. Yeah, you go ahead, John Deere.
Yeah, no, just it's for both because Earl, let's just be okay. No, Earl, I'm not necessarily against you. Just hold on. Just give me a chance here. I'm just okay. So kind of my question and information I want to provide. It's like a double whammy here. So question and statement is question first. Are we, because it sounded like when I was in here, we were kind of going from the secondary level of autonomy, which is cognitive autonomy. Classically speaking, medically, in medical ethics, bodily autonomy is